Right, so it's 3 p.m. and we are all set to begin with another stimulating session on connecting the dots. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Employee attrition is one of the critical problems faced by HR managers as the company cannot afford to lose its best employee to competitors. Nowadays, one of the most important questions asked by either higher authority to HR people is why our attrition rate is higher than other company. Attrition and absenteeism are impacted by health of employees and we are referring to physical health, financial health, mental and emotional health. Our panelists are renowned experts from these domains and would share their views on how attrition can be controlled. HRAI welcomes you all to this session on connecting the dots, attrition control, play of wealth, health and wealth. To know more about HRAI and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all the participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our esteemed panel members for our today's webinar. Mr. Kamal Jeswani, Certified Financial Success Coach and Planner, Count Mint Financial Planners. Google India's #1 financial coach and you will find him. Let me introduce Kamal Jeswani, who is an international speaker and also India's first internationally certified financial success coach with a CFP and a MBA in finance. He helps working professionals build secure wealth with his powerful PMG 5.0 model without sacrificing a good lifestyle. He conducts financial super success seminars across India and also trains employees of elite companies like Times of India, Raymond, Wellspun, Tata Group Company, Nuvoco, Apollos, Ford Motors, Spinney, Misho, ACS, etc. And associations like PMI, IMPA, Lions Club, Rotaract Club, Lajja, PSP, PA, IMOTW, and Pinkish, etc. He has trained more than 59,000 people and has been on mission to make upper and lower middle class people rich by making quality guidance affordable. You can attend his online trainings designed for professionals like you. You can also follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Our next panel member, Ms. Riddhi Doshi, founder of RINS Academy. Riddhi Doshi Patel is a qualified child psychologist, mental health practitioner, dance movement therapy practitioner, 3x TEDx speaker, and advisor to TED clubs. She is the recipient of multiple awards, including the National Award and Young Entrepreneur Award. She is the founder of Lajja, India's first forum of women that focuses on women development, growth, and self-empowerment. She has established 6 Lajja chapters across India, working in tandem for the growth, development, and empowerment of women from rural and urban settings. Riddhi is also a qualified trainer and has conducted training programs for corporates, individuals, educational institutes, and NGOs on mental health and wellness, parenting, first-time leaders, and leadership. You can also follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Our next panel member, Ms. Shilpa Mittal, founder of Shilp Life. Founder of Shilp Life Nutrition and Lifestyle Makeovers, is a merit ranker and she has won several awards. She is a skilled professional with over 2 decades of experience, having 2 clinics in Mumbai. She helps people fall in love with food, be it illness or wellness, by her unique model of creative dieting, which has inspired 10,000 plus people. She loves to design programs for kids and adults. She is one of the first nutritionists in India to have an Android app, Shilp's NutriLife, for educative purpose. She loves to bring out workable, practical solutions to clients. You can also follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Now I'll introduce to our panel come moderator for today's session, Lieutenant Commander Nitika Rai, Senior Technology Consultant, Ernst Young. Lieutenant Commander Nitika Rai is an experienced naval officer who served the Indian Navy for 11 years. During her illustrious career, she has handled various roles encompassing logistics and SCM, HR management, accounting, and procurement and project management. She had been instrumental in outcome of various departmental functions, and she had been a trusted advisor to HSOD for delivering operational excellence. She did her master's in business administration in HR and marketing and PG diploma in international logistics and SCM and specialized in global SCM from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. She has been devoted to her professional career and she is now working with EY as a senior technology consultant since July 21. She loves reading and writing, running and delivering motivational talks. You can follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. And with this, we are done with the introductions. Without taking much time, I will now hand over the platform to Ms. Nitika to take this forward.
Well, very good afternoon to all. Thank you, Faisal, for a great introduction. Especially, Riddhi, Kamal, Shilpa, we do have met before, but, you're specialized in those careers which I've never thought of. So as far as attrition goes, this topic seems to be very interesting to me. The reason being, for 11 years of career of mine in forces, we have no option to leave. So attrition never came to our mind. All right. So it will be a very interesting discussion, and I would be really happy to know from all three of you who specialize in different fields, different cadre, different branches you have, and so I'll just start immediately with Riddhi. Riddhi, the question which triggers into my mind is, what for employees leave the organization? What are the psychological barriers they face? What are the psychological triggers they have in mind? So if I'm an employee, if I want to be a part of an organization, how can I feel secure? So Riddhi, if you could just give a...
Nikita, I was just going through an article recently, and the title said, stress is the barb of everything. Now, the word Hindi and English, when it was mixed, that caught my attention. I was reading that article, and that says that stress is the major issue among employees leaving an organization. But what happens? Why does an employee get stressed? There are multiple reasons for that, okay? Either they have insufficient pay or unfair pay practices, probably lack of ethics in the organization or lack of honesty between the team members. Also, the trust between the team members and the trust of the employee in the immediate boss. Also, lack of work-life balance and the desirable culture which the person wants to have while he or she joins the organization. Okay. And sometimes stress also due to family matters. Now, why we're talking about this, that stress is a major issue and that happens due to multiple reasons. Okay. By and large, an employee is at the organization almost 70% of his time, which you have in hand. So out of 24 hours, the employee is 70% of the time he is at the organization. It is very important for us to know the root cause of the employee or employee leaving the job before even we give him an exit form. The reason being, it is important that we understand that are the problems related to psychological issues and why are this coming from and where is this coming from? If the organization or the employer starts understanding this, there would be a major shift from attrition to having the employees who are old, experienced, and retention will be important and easily comfortable for the employer to have it. By and large, when we say that stress is a major issue here, we also need to understand that as an employer, since the employee is spending 70% of his time at the organization, it is important that we support this cause, support the support the issues the employee is facing. And it is important to create a culture within the organization level to understand that what are the causes. And when the culture is created, maybe a team might be created, specifically a wellness team who can address the situation. Or there can be the team wherein all the employees know that they can talk to them without being judged, and they will not be, the grievances will be addressed and not kind of aggravated any which ways, and will be a danger to the job. If such spaces started creating within the organization structure, what will happen is the employees will have a space where they can share about their problems. Now, sometimes the problems may be ethical, sometimes the problems are just made up by the person. It can be anyways, but it is very important that the team hears the employee out, because unless and until you hear the person, you will not be able to understand the pattern. You will not be able to understand where you need to address. In my 16 years of experience, Nikita, all the organizations where I have worked with, or I have put up a segment or a space I have created in that organization for mental health and wellness within the organization structure, I've always observed that it is the HR who takes such initiatives, and one person from the whole department, has understanding about how is mental health and emotional health spoiling the whole health and everything, the life of the employee, I would say. Hence, if emotional and um, mental health is taken care of, the wellness is taken care of, it solves a lot of purpose. How do we do that? Creating a space within the organization structure, allowing the employee to share, to discuss, and one body who can be given to such people whom the organization or the first the leader, after the leader to that particular employee understand that there is some issue which my employee is facing, and if one body would be given who can just give that comfort within the organization to the employee, that would solve the purpose. Third important thing, there are multiple ways of creating that space. Maybe a broadcast message just in the morning to say, hey, you okay? A personalized message works wonders. The fourth version of doing it, which I've myself have done with a couple of organizations. So when the employee enters the office, now there might be multiple things that have happened at the home front also, and the person is trying to deal with it. The person is trying to solve it. And it is important that when the employee enters the organization, there is something which gives a smile on the place. Or maybe when the person is entering, maybe a smiley but just kept there on the front door also gives the person a smile. Okay, so there are multiple ways of doing it. Maybe the manager, the leader, the next leader of that particular team just visiting, going on the floor and talking to everybody, maybe saying, hey, how are you? How's everything at home? How's the work? How are you comfortable doing the work? That personalized touch also from the HR or from the leader would help the person understand that, hey, I can speak at this place, I can share at this place, and I will not be judged, or I will not be asked to leave the job. So this space in organization is very, very important, I feel, as a mental health practitioner. Also, there will be multiple experts who could be invited to talk about how to work on stress, how to have a work-life balance. Again, while we say work-life balance, it's all about multitasking. So how to say no to multitasking, and how to balance your personal and professional life. Leave the things where you enter the other space. So it is important to understand all this stuff. Nonetheless, it is easier to say rather than implement. So repeated hammering of all this stuff in a very positive way and with a smile by the HR and the leaders, I think that would make the culture a happy space to work, and the attrition can be lower down in that way.
Oh, well, thank you, Riddhi. You've brought it very beautifully. When I was just, listening, Riddhi, it just came to my mind, it's okay. quote unquote. It's okay to have psychological trigger. You know, when in any profession you join, when you join, it's your first day. It's just completely okay to have a psychological trigger. Number one. Number two is you need to be interactive. Just speak out, right? And Vidhi started with talking about the pay practice. So I'll come to Kamal on this. So Kamal, question to you says, yeah, does giving high salaries to employees is the only way to retain them? Or we need to counsel them and get their priorities right? What's your say on that?
Thank you so much for that question. I have worked for more than 18 years in corporate. In fact, my last job was as head of business intelligence in Nissan Motors. And prior to that, I worked with mostly global companies like IBM, Sutherland, and all. What I noticed over there was because I was on the other side where I was an employee, and yes, everyone wanted to jump to another company. In fact, that happened more in Bangalore when I was in Bangalore with IBM. I was like, 1 year to 3 years was the maximum tenure people wanted to work in one company. And the reason was because the salary was not sufficient. And when we talk about not being sufficient, it's not about the amount of salary. It's about being whether I'm able to fulfill all my requirements with that salary.
True.
And that's where, if increasing the salary would have been the solution for this problem, then what would have happened is every time a person says my salary is not sufficient, he will jump to another company, from another company to third company. He will keep hopping from one to another.
It's a vicious cycle.
So he will never have one place to be settled. Why? Because salary is his only motive. But that's not true. I have worked in my first company. I worked for 3 years. And yes, the salary was much, much, much lower than the market salary amount. And in fact, when I left the company, I asked the other people also that why are you over here? Why don't you move? Because my salary is much more than the manager in this company. And you know what was the reason why people did not want to move? They had a different kind of loyalty towards the company. Because their expenses, they were like, we attended those sessions where how to manage your expenses with that kind of an income. So that's where people never felt the need that fine, I need a higher amount. So on one side, we have to look at the salary. On another side, we have to look at the expenses. It's like, we must have heard the story about that monkey who used to climb 3 steps and then come down 2 steps. Then he used to climb the 3 steps. So these 2 steps are the expenses. Okay, now what has happened is for most of the people, they climb 3 steps with their income, and they come down 3 steps with their expenses. And for years together, they stay at the same place. In spite of the salary increasing, their happiness is not there.
Not there.
So if the company really wants to retain their employees, it also needs to teach them how to not go down 3 steps, how to go down only 1 step instead of going down 3 steps. If the company is able to also conduct sessions on those aspects, it would be easier for the company. Apart from that, another reason is when we give salary to a employee, what we are looking at is only the amount. Are we really looking at whether it is friendly for the employees? Are the employees getting more money in their pocket? If the employees can get more money in their pocket, the employees can understand that yes, this company is giving me a higher raise. Okay, that's where they will feel, because many companies, what they do is, I have seen when I was on the other side of an employee, the offer letter which comes, okay, it shows a higher CTC than the previous employer. But what is net in hand after doing the tax calculations is lower than the previous employer. Why? Because the previous employer had the meal coupons, they had the conveyance and other things, reimbursement. So the net I was getting in the earlier company was better in spite of the CTC being lower. So I think that is Another way, the employer can retain the employee without even increasing the pay by making the salary structure more tax friendly. In fact, now it will be more required because uh, I believe recently there have been a lot of changes in the wage structure, okay, which will impact the taxation, which means now the basic salary, because earlier the basic salary and other basic amount, the wage part, which is called, that could be 20%, 40%, 30%, and remaining is like additional investment, additional money given to the employee. Now that structure would have to be changed, because there again some kind of there was some kind of stealing of tax which was happening in that way at a much higher level. So the government had to make these changes. Now it will be very important for every employer to have a discussion with their finance head and with the chartered accountant to see how they can revise the structure, make it tax friendly, so that next year the attrition level is not higher. Because once this structure has been implemented, when the people would realize that they are paying more taxes and they are getting less amount, they will again feel the need of a higher salary, again feel the need of a jump. Before that problem arises, let's try to capture it right away by making it tax friendly.
Yeah. So, when you hear it from financial coach, you get all your salaries, expenses straight. So, coming it from Kamal, I remember a book when I was reading Rich Dad and Poor Dad. So it's a very old book, and it says that the rich dad says that you need to just take care of expenses. It shouldn't be, you need to take risk. So I think finance is it's taking risk. So the more, if you're playing very safe, you can be there in a company for years and there is no growth in that. So it's risk and then balance also. So thank you, Kamal, for your beautiful insight. Oh well, none other than Shilpa. I'll talk about health, which is very much important in each and everybody's life. As far as attrition is concerned, health do play a major role. I would love to hear it from you, that how does work environment plays a role as far as attrition in a company is concerned, attrition rate is concerned.
Thank you, Nitika. Yes. So I would begin with, as Riddhi mentioned, that employee spends more than half a day, almost 10 to 12 hours. He is outside his house. And okay, let me also relate it to what happened during lockdown when we were just scrolling internet and seeing beautiful people preparing at home all delicious dishes. Everybody got tempted. Everybody started cooking when everything was closed. So I think we human beings get influenced with each other very fast, and that's a proof that happened during COVID. So the similar strategy we can work out, that kind of a work environment wherein we create a work environment like that. So when I was with GE around 7 years back, we applied something like that, wherein there were small reminders put up at different places. Be it, did you walk so many steps? So did you have did you have your water? Very small and minute reminders, and it created a very positive and healthy culture, wherein each person was actually talking about, acha ye kiya kya, okay, chai replace ki kya. So just very small things that, okay, you had 2 cups of normal tea, now you cannot have more. So we even gave a little twist to their canteen menu. So just small things, but reminding them. So the major problem what an employee faces is long working hours and not getting the right kind of food available in the office to eat. And of course, many a times they keep long gaps. So when they realize they are hungry, they are tempted, and then they order for anything. So if there can be, according to me, a health directory wherein, nowadays there are so many delivery options. People are delivering health foods. So something like that, so that they, nearby options wherein people can deliver at office, or if they have a canteen, something like that can be worked out. So I think, yes, work environment wherein the organization just takes a step ahead, because it is not like earlier times that only 8 hours, so a person is stationed only for 8 hours, it definitely gets extended to 10 to 12 hours. But at the same time, making healthy foods available, I think, is something can play definitely a big role. As Riddhi also mentioned about stress, in stress is the part I would tell wherein people go wrong in eating. So maybe if it is year ending, meeting targets, wherein there is a lot of pressure, either there is a category who will not eat, just keep on drinking cups and cups of tea, and there is other category who will have cravings and will then end up with all sweet food. So I think if that can be managed well, I think the organization will have this problem will not arise. So that's from my end, Nitika.
Thank you so much, Shilpa. And, listening from you made me think like, about very old fashioned Mumbai dabbawalas. They used to send so many dabbas into the organization. And also
Even now.
Even now, yes.
Yeah, even now they are running.
They are doing it, which is again it's a case study. 10, 12 years before I read it. So it just came to my mind. I thought I'll just share it with Shilpa. And, very untouched topic it is, you are scrolling with a mouse pad, and then you whatever there is there to eat, immediately you just hop onto it and start, hogging it. So very beautifully brought out, and good to see that you have an experience in GE, which is again, and you brought out such a practice, which is still, employers can, take from you and apply it in their company. I'll come to Riddhi. Riddhi, how about employee burnout? What's your say on that? Huh?
Major issue these days, Nikita, and it needs to be addressed. And it is even seen more post-pandemic, because and during the pandemic also, the strike of pandemic has kind of increased this, because work from home or now going back to the organization and working from the office front, both is not easy for people. Okay, but it is important that we understand that what actually burnout is. We've heard about it, we've heard stress is the issue, as I rightly said that I rightly read in the newspaper somewhere in the article I was reading that stress is the barb of all the issues. Okay, so while I was while I was reading that, and while I say that understanding burnout is important, there are few things if we can understand. To all the people who are listening to me right now, and all the HR heads, if you can just understand, HR people, if you understand your team members or your people within the organization, what burnout is what burnout is actually. So you can see that person is little disoriented. Now, what is disoriented? A person who might, when he has joined the organization or after 2 years also, he'll come and say, hey, hi, how are you? While entering the office. And all of a sudden you see a change that usko force karna hota hai bolne ke liye.
Behavior.
Absolutely. So that's kind of disoriented talk. If you observe, that's one of the trait. There is increased in absenteeism of that employee. आज ये है, आज वो है, कुछ भी priority आ जाती है, made up priority होती है, नहीं होती है, who knows? We cannot go and check. But that absenteeism is increased a lot. Then the person is highly sensitive. You see that sudden change of highly sensitive in the feedback or the criticism been given. Before he would have accepted it with a smile, and all of a sudden you see that he's reacting to that feedback or the criticism in a very positive way. Even if it's been told by the leader, he's taking it directly to heart and is reacting to it. You see a decreased productivity. So the work he used to do in few hours, you might see he's not complete, or she's not able to complete in next 2-3 days. Also, you also see that during the lunch hours or the tea hours, when the person is getting going, it doesn't prefer talking to people. He would rather sit and have his lunch alone, or nahi khata hai, kabhi kabhi skip marta hai, but he prefers staying in isolation basically. Okay, then you can easily make out that his emotional, his physical exhaustion is portrayed multiple ways. Negative talks, negative self-talks, talking about, pinpointing about the people within the organization, and not seeing the positive side of the work culture. Every which way, so we see that there's a sense of exhaustion in the person, and it is easy for everybody of us to make out. One more, which is very, while I say that mental and emotional issues are such that it is not so prominently seen as much as you see the physical one, you're by the person who's, at the verge of burnout or is suffering from high level of stress and is just giving up, you will see physical symptoms. Like you will see him wearing a waist belt, or would talk about, knee pains and the neck pain and a lot of things. That sudden emergence of all this pains can also be psychosomatic and can be the burnout reason as well. So these are few of the things, if we start observing, or specifically the team who has been, if ever created in that work culture or at that work space, would really solve the purpose.
So when Riddhi, you got it clear here. It's the term you use was psychosomatic, right? So it sounds very technical, but all in all it says it shows up. So
it shows up, yes.
If you observe people, so if an employer is observing an employee, so he or she can make out that this particular person A or person B is burned out, or burnt out, or is exhausted, in a very simpler term.
So
you, yeah, please
yes,
go ahead.
You were saying something, you please complete.
Yeah, so in that case, they follow certain step B. They might approach Kamal regarding the salary part, or maybe they can consult Shilpa about the health part. So Riddhi, before coming to Kamal, Riddhi, you want to share something?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I say that, while we say that employees facing burnout, or we say that the employee is very stressed out, there are a few things, if we can have it on daily basis, to work on the stress. Yeah. So because if there is a problem, there is a solution to it also. Yeah. Okay. Let me just, I recall an incident where Leighton India had invited me to talk about inclusion for women. And why was it happening? Because the whole organization, there are a lot of male across the world. There are males more, and there will be few females. And the HR hat has been the female, and she said that I want that inclusion, and the males also have to understand that while women come at the workspace, there are a lot of things they manage and they come. So they need to understand the women's perspective or in the workplace and where they come from, and that inclusion is very important. So that reminds me that छोटी छोटी चीजें अगर हम inculcate कर सके, that will solve the purpose. Like one of the organization, I will be naming my organization a little less here because I don't know, I'm not sure whether it would be in the comfort within the organization structure or not. So while I was conducting a session for one of the organization, we laid the system and process on place on wellness and emotional wellness and mental health. So a simple thing was done, like while the employee enters the office, so the office was spread out in a huge space, and there are males and females both working. It's an IT company, a very well-known IT company. So as you enter, we had two people standing there, and who would come, would just give a high five, or one would say just shake off, shake off, shake off. There's the music which will play, and they will just shake off, shake off. And trust me, the day they would do that, that whole day, that employee would be in smile, will be connecting with people a lot, and will be able to finish work very faster. And the day was just spent like this for that employee. So there's few things. So while we are doing some things, like what is a shake off? Let me just explain. So while we are on the roads and we see that an animal is been knocked down by a car, or kahin chota bachcha ne usko knock down karke gira diya, matlab a donkey, a dog, or anybody, what would that animal do? The animal will get up, shake off, and start moving. Right. So it's one of the modality which I often use. It's dance movement, which is nothing related to dance. It's all about the emotions that we use. But this is something, when you shake off, you are in here and now. So you're not in the past, you're not in the present. So the employees who must have faced something at home, या अगले दिन कुछ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में तू मैं हो गई है किसी के साथ, he is just shaking it off and starting with a new new vibe that day. So ये सब कर सकती हैं. There are a lot of things which we can do, like jamming. Like people are working and all of a sudden बीच में आके एक कोई music बजाएगा, कोई jam करेगा, एकदम music on होगा सब flow पे, and a team is given rights wherein they will go and jam, and all the employees start jamming. So it's just this question of 5 minutes, and there is spur of energy, the spur of smiles, and the productivity increases. So there are so many things that while we talk about stress, while we talk about burnout, are we creating that culture that the burnout is lessened at the workplace? There's a culture of happiness, there's a culture of non-judgmental space, there's a culture of high productivity and smile that also we need to consider.
Yeah, Priti, I mean, a very beautiful example. You just, whatever there is there in your mind, just chuck it out. Okay, just be in the present. This is what you mean to say. And I'm really worried. I think I'm really worried about the top leadership. Since they are creating one, is there somebody to create for them?
No, let me tell you. Let me take this opportunity.
I think they are involved. They are also part of the team. If they are leading a team, they are the part of the team. So really, I got it completely. Thank you so much. I'll come to Kamal. Kamal, your question is, what role does employee engagement and rewards and recognition play in keeping the employee happy and satisfied? Over to you, Kamal.
A major role. A major role it plays.
Major role.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know it's purposely used the word major.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to rewards, and because engagement is absolutely essential, and as well as rewards and recognition. So to give an example, a live example, like if you see Google Pay, what they give you is transfer this money, you get 2 rupees, get 5 rupees. People are happy getting that 2 rupees, 5 rupees.
Yeah.
They never think about it. And then if you go at Amazon, 1% discount, 2% discount, 5% discount, 10% discount. People forget that they are spending a lot on it. What they say is they want to form habits. And that's the reason even ATM, when people used to say, how can that company survive? I transfer 50 rupees, they are giving me 5 rupees. Forget the amount, look at the percentage. Okay, and this is a customer who is talking, who's getting the 5 rupees. He's like, how can the company survive? They don't realize that company survives on habits, does not survive on this 5 rupees. So what it is giving you is peanuts, create a habit in you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if these 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupees can create habits among people who are spending thousands and lakhs of rupees, imagine what it can do to employees.
True.
So that rewards and recognition should also have a particular strategy. Problem is, normally rewards and recognition are basically considered just one kind of an event. It's not an event. It's a strategy. Okay, and it has to be done in such a way that people keep accumulating them. Just like we have the star system. Like my son, 2 days back, he picked up my phone. He went to Amazon. He said, Papa, I will earn you 50 rupees. You give me your mobile for 2 minutes daily. Okay, so 2 days I gave him. So he said, I'm going to earn you some stars and you can exchange those stars for money. Everyone gets glued these kind of systems. So it would be rather than, even if you give a salary raise, okay, let's say whatever amount is there in the salary raise, even if you give a percentage of it in forms of rewards and recognition with a proper strategy, with a proper gamification, okay, where you accumulate these stars, you exchange it for this gift and all that, trust me, people would be crazy about it. People love emotions. People are emotional. People are not logical. So wherever they feel that emotion, that's where they will get connected. And a company can easily create those happy moments for people, not by spending huge, but by spending wisely, smartly. Rather than looking at the quantity, they should be looking at the quality of reward.
Yeah.
So that way it can be done. In fact, so I just remembered one thing. While because Shilpa is on the screen, so I just reminded me of my visits to Times of India, to Bangalore office, Hyderabad office, wherever I go to their office, their canteen is such that, it has a proper thali. This time, in fact, when I went to Bangalore office, they said they offered me a ragi ball. They said this is something which is very, very healthy. It does not have the taste, but it is something, which will keep you active throughout the day. It will give you that energy. So again, that thoughtfulness. So what I'm talking about is the thoughtfulness. If it goes into your rewards and recognition also, it really helps you to keep your attrition in control.
Yeah. Also, so this, I would love to go to that place. TOI. Which branch was it? Bangalore?
Times of India, Bangalore.
Oh wow, Ragi Paul, Shilpa, what's your say on the health as far as working environment is concerned? So my next question says, how can management have goals that benefit the health of the employee in the organization? And how about the happiness index? Have you, Shilpa, over to you. Please go ahead.
So yes, Nitika, taking it ahead from Kamal, as he mentioned about rewards. So yes, each of us like to win, and even if not winning, but we like to run that race or at least participate. So yes, very important role are challenges. An organization can have challenges, maybe quarterly challenges. So to give you an example, I was working with Ambit. I was attached to them for 3 years consecutively. And since they are into finances and into capital, they always used to understand the language of numbers. So if you tell them, okay, your cholesterol is this much, it has to be this much. That's it, done.
Okay.
Teacher, they were not bothered. So there we worked out challenges, and it really, I could see in 3 months, I could see their health from this side to improving. So it was very simple. Working out challenges, like one challenge which I can remember is a biggest gainer. So taking it positively is, again, biggest gainer is gaining in terms of health. So they used to do screening every 3 to 6 months, and the parameters which are not in range, gaining it in next 3 months. Getting it in range in next 3 months, and all the support was given. So maybe indirectly it was called as the biggest gainer. It also involved weight loss. It involved getting maybe your diabetes in control, your cholesterol, all your parameters in control by, yes, involving experts. So like I was there as a diet counselor. We had someone to manage stress. So as I spoke previously, the support, and as we all three of us are saying, that support is very important. So yes, challenges, rewards, and rewards, yes, as Kamal said, may not be very big, but just so the reward there was giving them a holiday trip. So everybody was very excited and just participated quite wholeheartedly. So most important is, I feel, is screening. Many a times the employee is not aware whether he or she has any problems, because many a times that goes unnoticed. So yes, I feel some kind of goal, some kind of motivation, wherein again that improves the work culture and a person is onto it to work for it.
Thank you, Shilpa. So I think nowadays, the companies are organizing some kind of a run or a walkathon, isn't it? There's some or maybe occasionally or event based. It is क्योंकि फौज में तो दौड़ा देते हैं, कहते हैं if you are, या फिर वो कहते हैं कि if you are fat, then you are given certain time frame, and then you have to reduce it, and that is it. So I think it's there. It's the culture, companies are undertaking, wherein they are taking care of the health of the employees also. And that's, and the most neglected, but very important. And I think we are not supposed to, I think we should not blame a company, as in we should blame ourselves. It should, like, it's an individual, it's individual say on your particular health. So you need to keep healthy for yourself. So I'll come to Riddhi. Riddhi, over to you. So I believe the question says that post pandemic the stress level have been increased. So just want to frame a question saying that we all know the stress level for all employees. We all know the stress level all employees are going through post pandemic. Is this the cause of great resignation? And how can we help employees feel secured during this crisis time. So I read it today. Read it today, wherein the UN Secretary General was saying that the COVID crisis has been reduced to a much lower level. I mean, the COVID per se is reduced to much lower level. So though I think we have come out of the post-pandemic, or what's your say? Or the stress is still there, or the employees who left the job or who are being given pink slips, have they retained are they retained to some other companies, or what is your say on this, Riddhi? Or it's all mental?
No. So yes, I have been reading couple of articles. I have a lot of friends who are HR and at a very high position. They are with the organization, and we have always, like, when we meet, we have some healthy discussions about it. What has been noticed that yes, apparently on social media and outside on the when the news and everywhere, we've certainly come out of the post-pandemic, the pandemic effect, I would say. But actually, at the ground level, if you see grassroots level, and at the ground level, if you see that yes, people are working more from home. Very less people have started going to office. I would say 40 to 45% have started going to office. The 60% still are working from home. So the work from home culture is that you work for more hours and you try and bargain on multiple things at your end or adjust on multiple things, and the working hours are increased. Okay, so the sleep issues, the health issues, the obesity, everything comes in. Also, the people who are going to office, many have been, as you rightly said, many organizations have made it, not in India but abroad, many organizations have completely stopped the office space, and they've made it compulsory work from home. And I have so many of my friends and relatives doing the same thing. Here in our country, it is noticed that many have been given pink slips, and yes, they are still there. They have not got job opportunities because it seems that in their language, the market is not so conducive right now for new jobs. Or if you have, then there are a lot of adjustments you need to do in terms of your pay. And I'm sure Kamal is going to, Kamal's assistant will be needed. But then jokes apart, that is the scenario right now. So there's a lot of insecurity. There is a lot of layoff. And when there is no insecurity and layoff, there are multiple reasons which people are leaving the jobs and going. So stress, uncertainty, due to, understanding their own worth, or probably self-disconnect or lack of trust in self is the major issue seen in employees these days.
So the stress is one, but then I think isn't self-motivation required?
So let me share an example.
Talking about self-stress, so how about self-motivation? Where did it come from?
Let me share an example here. So just few years back, we had gathered up at a outlet, and one of my friend, he works with one MNC. Now his CEO must be dining there at that particular space where we were. And while he came out, we were just entering, in fact, and he was coming out, and he immediately saw my friend and said, "Hey, how are you?" And with the name, that personal connect makes a huge difference. A huge difference. There's a sense of wanting, there's a sense of acceptance, there is a sense of security, there's a sense of worth, and automatically you feel motivated to give your best to the organization. So I feel when we're talking about self-motivation, while we're talking about the employees or while we're talking about human beings need to be self-motivated, that has a lot to do at the organization level as well. That personal touch that gives you motivation, that awareness which have been created on multiple things, working on their body image, working on their stress, working on their happiness issues, or the programs, I would say, working on their helping them to work as a community at the community level with NGOs and all, which gives them a sense of connection with the society. Yeah, the social work, I would say. Then a lot of other things which helps them to build up their emotional space and build up their mental space. I think that's where a person can be self-motivated. It is not so easy to be self-motivated. There are multiple things that work in this space.
Yeah. So before pandemic, you are onto the self-actualization stage of Maslow's pyramid, and then and then immediately you comes to psychological, and then you are at the baseline. So Kamal, the next question comes to you. The last question is there any way to incentivize employees without burning hole in the employee's pocket? Kamal.
Okay, I understand where it's coming from. Even employers are also considered. Basically, they also have to consider their own profit margins as well. So yes, there are plenty of ways by which an employer can incentivize the people without burning a hole in their pocket. As I earlier also mentioned that, using the rewards and recognition method, using the point system, and also making the salary tax friendly.
Yeah.
And also there's something called, if an employer continue giving salary to an employee after they have retired.
Oh,
not.
bang on. Yeah.
So no employer would be able to give salary to an employee who is already retired and left the job. But if an employer can build a system like that, where the person who joins in and gets to know that here, after I retire from this company, if I stay till the retirement age, if I retire from this company, I would continue getting salary every month, even after my retirement.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would be happy to join. Why? Because people want, Riddhi also said earlier, people want certainty. People want that security. Okay. More than the salary, the security is important. Like, I see a lot of my school friends. Okay, because now I'm also connected with my school friends. I see that the place where they joined, they are still there for the last 20, 25 years. And I'm asking them, what is the reason? How come 20, 25 years in these days? They're like, I want security. I want stability.
Yeah. Yeah. Your priorities change. Yeah.
So now, and in fact, one of my friends, especially in the banks, I've seen that in banks, the salaries are lower, but what they get is a guarantee.
Guarantee, yeah.
Okay, so if we can build up that kind of a guarantee in our systems, that is very much possible. Like, for example, let me take an example of NPS.
Yeah.
Corporates who are able to implement NPS in their organizations, okay, they can give more benefit to their employees, because what happens is, once you exhaust the limit of 1.5 lakh of ATC, people come to me, sir, what is the other way? Because 1.5 lakh limit is exhausted. Then I tell them go for NPS. But even NPS has a limit of 50,000. They are like, even that is exhausted, then what to do? Then I tell them, you do one thing, tell your employer to implement NPS. Because with that, you get 10% of your basic also, then additional tax deduction. So these are the certain ways, by which an employer can easily, do a lot for the employees. Employee would be more than happy. So employers can also, because I'm talking from the other side, when I have been on the other side, what was more important, how I could manage to get growth regularly, how I was able to get a promotion almost every year. It was because of the investment in education. When people look at my list of qualifications and certifications, they are like, wow. I tell them, these are not done before getting the job. So during the job period, only in the last 18 years, I've been getting all these qualifications and certifications and everything. It is during the job. So if an employer can, build in that culture, just 2 days back, I got to know of example of a lady. She was a sweeper at a State Bank of India. Because she became a widow at a very young age, at the age of 21. Her husband used to work in SBI as a sweeper. Then she was given a job, but she felt, no, this is not enough. What she did was she started studying, and then she got to know that if she gives banking exams, she can get a job of a clerk in that SBI. So she appeared for the banking exam. She became the clerk. Now, in the last 15 years, she kept giving more and more exams. Now she is the AGM, State Bank of India, from a sweeper to assistant general manager at State Bank of India. For that lady who was handling her household alone, I mean, she has kids. Okay, at the age of 21, she had around 1 or 2 kids. So taking care of those kids, studying, and then upgrading and reaching that level, that is possible. But for that, he knew the path is, if I keep giving more and more exams, I would be able to achieve growth. Every employer should have to create that kind of a growth path for the employees. If you do this, then you get a next level. So I think if we start working on that, it would really reduce the attrition to a considerable extent. And Nitika, when you spoke about the rewards and recognition, a thought popped up in my mind. So what I do is usually in my corporate trainings, when I implement that rewards kind of structure, what I do is I give them gift sessions.
Okay.
And since this topic came up now, in the last 2 minutes, I was able to immediately make a link, okay, which I'm sharing on the screen now.
Oh, that's great.
Gift sessions for you all those who are attending the session. You get these 3 sessions, which are normally paid sessions, but you get it as a gift because you have attended the HRAI panel discussion.
Oh, that's great.
It's a thank you kind of thing. It also has a QR code. Either you can scan the QR code or you can go to this link and you will be eligible for these gift sessions also.
Oh,
so this thought came to thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Kamal. No, it's indeed a pleasure to have you among the panelists.
sorry, I could not name the presentation also. I just created one slide.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, while Kamal was speaking, I after listening in for past 3 questions, I could just make out that he is answering having a broad mind. He's not specific to the questions, and the way you mentioned about a lady. So a lady can do it all. She can have it all. so thank you for putting it up here. Very inspiring story, Kamal. And thank you for sharing the reward with all of us here. Thank you, and thank you HRI for having Kamal on board here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, my last question goes to Shilpa. Shilpa, your question is, how does wellness program help employee in rejuvenation and help them concentrate on work better? Share some example, please. Over to you, Shilpa.
Yes, Nikita. So everybody knows that there is a need of wellness program. And yes, the benefits, as you mentioned, yes, it helps in concentration. Yes, it increases productivity, reduces absenteeism. So my only thing is just one session doesn't work. Like you said, yes, we all are aware. A lot of things are there in media. We read so much, but the implementation is something which is lacking, and that is what needs to be. Yeah. So that is what needs to be worked on. Now, how can a organization do that? So what I have been doing with various other companies is that there has been a constant this thing reinforcing, like Riddhi said, hammering. That is what is needed. So we have a lot of health awareness days if you see our calendars. So just to give you an example, I did a session with Panasonic, which was an urgent basis. So they had introduced some new product wherein they had hundreds of their employees to go to market and explain. So the market was specially for marketing team. It was, I mean, even the session was named as Nutrition for People on Go. So I had to, I mean, it was just in 2 days they finalized and I had to go and give the session. It was all to explain them that when they are on go, because if their energy levels go down, if they get mentally exhausted, they will not be able to deliver what the company needs. So
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that is what one thing I can remember. And
Mhm.
so a lot of other sessions also which I have done with other corporates. So like we have cancer awareness days, so superfoods for cancer. So I mean,
Okay.
even if a person has cancer, doesn't have cancer, has gone through or to prevent cancer, all
Yeah.
these foods help. We have diabetes day. So I mean, conducting
That's
sessions
great.
wherein you can have a
Yeah.
package, like you can screen diabetes, you can
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
people knowledge about what to eat, when to eat. So with
Yeah.
a lot of other metabolic issues, like as Riddhi mentioned, with the stress, not sleeping on time, unhealthy eating habits, people are gaining weight. But if they get support, and if it's being constantly hammered, if we try and create that positive environment when everybody is thinking that way, I think we'll be able to help the employee with their health too.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Shilpa. Have touched beautifully. After blessed to have those days, even and get celebrated all over the world. In fact, and that's the reason we have wellness program. And when you're talking about foods for people who are cancer driven, that's also very untouched program, and very very important, because that's the only disease which is not cured as of now. Depends on the stage you are in. Yeah,
So,
please go.
Nikita, I just want to add also one thing. So nowadays people are like sitting. Most of the times they are sitting. So I mean, we
Oh my
nutritionists
God.
call them DJs.
Riddhi,
That is
Kamal,
desk.
stand up.
So
All
that's
right.
with each and every one of us. So I mean,
Yeah,
I had taken a session on. I mean, everybody knows sitting is like new smoking.
exactly.
So I had taken a session only on bones. I mean, food for bones, because there is where people are facing major issues with bones. So,
Bones,
I mean,
exactly.
just to give you an example. So, yes, so a lot of things can be done where wellness comes in.
Can we also have a kind of a barcode over here, and you can just scan it like Kamal and then Shilpa?
Sure, I have not worked for it, but yes, that was a good idea, Kamal. We'll also do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Shilpa, Kamal, Riddhi. Thank you very much for being here. Pleasure to have you all. Thank you,
so
Thank
HRD,
much.
you.
Faisal, and Peter out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we move to the Q&A round, we'll be running a poll to have the participants' valuable feedback on this session. During this time, we request all participants to feel free and put their questions in the chat box if you have any. I believe, Nitika, you have finished the entire quota of questions, because we are not getting any questions from the participants. Right, so thank you, Ms. Nitika, for taking
Thank you, Faisal. My
you.
panelists were such that they have answered, touched each and every point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ms. Nitika, for taking us through this session and making it such an interactive and exciting. Thank
Pleasure.
you, Mr. Kamal, Ms. Riddhi, and Ms. Shilpa for sharing your valuable thoughts and insights with us. It has been a privilege having you all for this engrossing session. To all those who wish to learn and grow, can access the recording of our today's session on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. Before we conclude with today's session, I would also want to thank all the associations, Geisha, NASCOM COE, ClipTalk, Talgro, TLE, WICCI, LinkedIn Local Ahmedabad, and India for supporting HRAI's events. To know more about these associations, request you to kindly visit the link provided in the chat window. Do join us for our next event on the topic Evolve Culture and Leadership, the Hybrid World. on 22nd of September 2022. That's it from our today's webinar. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe, take care, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye-bye.
Kamal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Nandita. Thank you. Bye.